So what about playing an adventure twice or 3 times with the same players or some of the same players? That's what we're going to explore in this vlog from both the perspective of the dungeon master and the player, because a good adventure is a good adventure. Now, I'm going to be talking about the keep on the Borderlands, but there are not going to be any spoilers, I promise you, because if you're going to play this amazing module or you're going to play through it, the level of discovery is fantastic, and I don't want to give anything away. Unless you're going to tip me some gold, then, well, I've got a couple of rumors that I could help you out with. So right now, D&D 5th edition, as a player, I'm making my way through the Keep on the Borderlands. We're playing every other week. I'm playing a druid, very, very excited. I rarely play druids. I'm trying to think the last time I played a druid, and Baldur's Gate doesn't count. With this game, we were kind of having this old school AD&D flavor to pay and honor this classic module. So we rolled up straight stats. No inflated point buy, no godlike heroics, no 16s and 18s and everything. You rolled 3d6. There you go. That's what you have. And the stats that I rolled, that's what's going to determine what your character class is. So I could have rolled super mediocre, and if I've got like a 13 intelligence, I could play a wizard. I usually play a wizard in D&D. But as we level up, the effectiveness of that would have been not impossible, but challenging. So my stats were actually really good for a druid. And look, we're going into the wilderness. Keep on the Borderlands. We could use a druid. Take a character class, play that. So I'm playing a druid, having a blast. Now, what's interesting with this adventure is the classic adventure. So as we're making our way through this, the classic adventure I played years ago as a player, so long ago, so many editions, it's just a memory in my mind. I played it first as a player back in the day. Then I ran it about halfway through. I mean, it's open sandbox, not that there's halfway through, but we played it. I played it as a DM and for a couple of sessions. So the players got to experience it from that. And I haven't revisited it since. So when the DM said, hey, I'm going to run Keep on the Borderlands, the updated version for D&D 5, I was excited to revisit that because I kind of remember some things. So it would be interesting to see how they mapped up. And of course, once you have so many additions and adventures mashed in your mind, did you really remember what's in that cave? Did you really remember this encounter? So I was excited to be able to experience that again from a refreshed 5th edition perspective. Now, being a player, our party, six party members, it's a mix of new players, new to D&D, old to D&D, keeping my player knowledge from playing this module in whatever capacity. I'm keeping everything to myself internally because I don't want to say, hey, I think when I was in this cave a million years ago, I think there was an ogre in here, and I remember something with those skulls, like just nothing like that. We're going to discover it on our own. But what has been further interesting is the duality of, from what I can see, I mean, we're still making our way through the adventure, there's just enough that's been updated and changed to reflect the 5th edition and to reflect some developments that it is a different adventure, but it is kind of the same. And then on top of that, the DM is adding in his flair, a couple of plot hooks, a couple of adventure ideas, some things that he likes. So I'm really having a blast revisiting this adventure because it's like I'm living 2 sets of memories, right? One of the things that I always try to do as a player or as a DM, we're stepping out of life, responsibilities, annoying responsibilities like school and work and things like that to play some D&D, roll some dice and have some fun. So with that, I want to create some memories. I want to create as a player and as a DM, we sit down together at the table, physical or virtual. You're going to remember this adventure. We're going to be talking about this from years from now. So I find myself in this adventure, and I've always tried to do that every game. So I find as I sit down and we're playing this adventure, I'm real-time reliving those old memories, asking what my old character would do, exploring things, creating new memories. It's an interesting synergy. So this got me thinking to other times now, that was as a player, now as a DM, Dungeon Master, times that I've ran an adventure twice. or 3 times or 4 times with the same players or a mix of players. So what does that look like? I have one campaign. It's a homebrew campaign that I've been playing a long, long time. And it is the same 3-part story, but every time I take a group of adventurers or players through the story, it improves, it adjusts. I mean, just call it play testing. So it's the same adventure and campaign that it was 15 years ago, but it's kind of been streamlined along the way. I love it so much. We have so much fun. Occasionally, when I announce, hey, I'm going to be running this campaign, we're going to be playing for the next year, I will have some older players who have played it before jump in on my campaign, because that's the other rule as a dungeon master I follow. Everyone has a place at my table. I have a game for 4. We show up on a Thursday. There's some people who want to play D&D. They've never played before. They're looking for a game. Have a seat. Here's a character. Roll it up. Let's do this. So there's been many times I planned for 4. There's 6. I planned for 6. There's 10. Like, it's good. We're going to do it. So there have been some players who have played this campaign before, and they say, hey, I want to jump back in. Now, with that, they're aware of certain things. But if this is a different playthrough, there are just enough tweaks and changes where I can see where they're remembering what happened in the past. They kind of have an idea of the plot line in the story, but it's manifesting in a different way. Now, some of that they have to keep to themselves because it could possibly spoil it. There's also one time where this campaign kind of branched off in that I took the players through the campaign. There's a massive winner-takes-all battle at the end. And this winner-takes-all battle is very much that. We've been playing for a year. Now it's for all the dice. Here we go. And I don't really have anything written after that because the battle could go multiple ways. You could win, you could lose, you could draw, you could negotiate. If you win, you could take it in many different directions. If you lose, you could take it in many different directions. But this, when this happened, it was in D&D 3.5. So with all the books and the feats and the crazy stuff, the characters were like anywhere from levels 16 to 18. I mean, they were up there. We're just blasting open the fabric of space and time. And they won, but they were so pumped at winning and they were so pumped at the campaign, they wanted to continue. So like a good DM, what do you do in that moment? You're like, look, I've got everything planned. We want to continue on? Awesome. When really you're like, guys, I'm gassed out. Like I've got a year of playing this. There is nothing next, but we're going to make this up like literally in the moment. I'll see you next session. So what happened was we did the classic kind of Star Trek Dark Mirror type thing where fabric of space and time was ripped open through awesome magics and this powerful machine that they were trying to capture in the story. And it put them back sort of to the beginning. But the timeline had accelerated and it had branched off in a different way. So it was a combination of the present time, but the main boss was not defeated. The main boss was still kind of brooding and having plans come to fruition. NPCs went in different directions. Some NPCs now actually aged and, it's like 20 years in the future. So they're in a different place. And what was interesting was it was the same story they were exploring, but it was a different flavor to it. So they were encountering NPCs that they've been networking with and talking with for literally real time the past year. And now it's like, who are you? The NPCs are like, I don't know you. Who are you? And it's the same NPC, but it's different. Now they have the player character knowledge. So, and they're utilizing that because they are their player characters. So they're talking to these NPCs and they're like, I do know you. And the NPC's like, we've never met before. Players are like, well, look, here's your lost love. And here's when you got into that fight over this and this happened. And the NPC's like, how do you know that? There's no way you could know that. So there's a lot of interplay. It was a lot of fun. So this is why sometimes I do run the same adventure twice, or I will play the same adventure again, with changes, with a chance, with this idea of Dungeons and Dragons as a tool set. Let's use this to have some fun. Let's experiment. Literally everything is on the table. And if you've got a good adventure, we have the experience running it. Let's run it again. Change it, tweak it, adjust it. Second time through will always be better than the first.